Yo, what is going on, guys? Just wanted to jump on here to give a recap, but also kind of explain where I've been the past couple of days. Monday for me, there was no trade set up just because yesterday, we were on the charts from 9 to 11 and nothing really presented itself on that time. So we know the rules, right? We stick to the rules. So if a setup doesn't come within the first 2 hours, ideally we want to get off and kind of hope that um, we get a better setup the next day. um, Today's Thursday, I didn't trade because I had a last minute exam on Friday morning, so I was studying for that. And Friday, I just decided just to um, call it a week. After losing that account that week, I think I lost it on like Monday or Tuesday, something like that. You guys will know, but yeah, Thursday I didn't trade because of my exam on Friday. And then Friday, I didn't trade just because it's movie time with my girl, and wanted to spend some time and enjoy that before coming into the new week. So yeah, Monday there was no trade just because there was no setup between that first 2 hours when the market open. And today, um, we did take a loss, but this was on a paper trading account, so as you guys can see, we did lose 540. Um, and the just want to say that so like not necessarily what clicked, but like I knew kind of I had a question in my mind like why are we reacting from this point right here? Why, like, we're not even tapped into that 5 minute fair value gap? What are we doing? Like, you know why are we all of a sudden bouncing up? And we get our entry model here. Why are we bouncing up? And if we're not reacting from anything, right? We're not reacting from a condition. So then I look on the normal XAU USD, and what do? We tap into that 5 minute. So that's where we get the reaction from. That's our condition. So it's interesting that these sometimes, as I mentioned before, and I'm forgetting to actually do that when I'm trading on TradingView, is to have a look at both charts, because sometimes one POI will tap into one, and another POI, XAU USD will tap into a POI, but MGC won't, and which would call it a displacement. So ideally, we wouldn't take a trade at all just because it didn't tap our condition, but ideally it did, right? Because XAU USD is showing that we did fill in that 5 minute condition there. So that's something that I'm gonna keep in mind of as well when taking a trade. It's something that I've kind of fallen off on, and then I realized again today, like, hey, like that's something to actually keep in mind in with trading. Especially on these time frames. With 5 minute conditions or 15 minute conditions, it's something to look out for. And yeah, so um, I've also introduced a new concept, which I don't know if you guys remember way back, um, like when I first started making these videos, was that I would actually use these swing market structures as a range um, in which when we come and fill in these ranges here, we actually get some form of tap into it, and we get a tap into it from this range here. We get a fill here. We take a trade to kind of look to go upwards. Um, Same kind of thing here. I mean, we have all these order block zones here, that haven't been hit. So, and we do it on the previous structure swing high and swing low. So to me, um, I'll just get rid of these. Oh. So to me, I think it's a great concept to kind of introduce just because it gives me that range to actually take a trade from, where we could react from. So, if we're trying to short here, where can we look to target? We can target these lows as well as these lows, but we can also target this order block here, right? So, oh my God, I'm kind of messing up my words, but yeah, if we want to catch a continuation, we can catch it down to these lows, these lows. So we can catch it down here, we can get a retracement, and then back to this order block, down in this discounted zone, in which we can look to take a trade from. So, that's something to kind of keep in mind as well. And it kind of keeps me focused in terms of analysis. Like, I know analysis doesn't matter how much analysis you do, you know, it doesn't really help you. But for me, it kind of helps me understand more, if that makes sense. I'm more confident in my levels and things like that, just because I'm working with a range, right? And if we're all the way, if we're all the way up here, right, and we close above it, what's our new range? So this becomes a weak high, and this becomes a strong low. This is ideally our protected low here. And we have a whole range to work with, right? We have this here. We also have this here as well that we can look to take a trade from. But again, it's one of those things where I have to take into consideration um, that we could look to bounce from these levels, right? If we're unable to catch a continuation, where can we look to take a trade from, right? We can look to take a trade from here, right? Or or here, which is prices what it's in now. But ideally, we can use that as inducement, so we get a liquidity sweep, tap into this last point of resistance, and then we get that displacement up again. So to take out this weak high, because currently we are in a bullish trend, right? So yeah, I mean, to me, that kind of helps me in terms of um, it kind of helps me in terms of like analysis and keeping track of my swing structures, and to figure out a range, and to figure out where I'm able to take a trade from, where price is looking to bounce from, and things like that. So it just keeps me on track, sorry, when it comes to ranges, right? So, um, yeah, it's kind of a new concept I introduced. Already familiar to it, just because I used to take trades, using this kind of concept. But the only reason I didn't do it was because of the lack of trades, and I was maybe only able to find maybe one setup a week. It was very hard to kind of catch a move, and most of the times, that move doesn't end up playing out, and end up getting stopped out. Um, but that was a time where I was still kind of figuring out my entry model and things like that, so still wasn't really confident with it. But, anyways, let's jump on the higher time frame and do a drop down analysis. Um, we had high time frame draws, which was right here. So this was a 4 hour high. We also had this high resistance high here that could potentially be taken out. 1 hour time frame, we were displacing from this 1 hour Fair Valley gap at the time, and I definitely thought it was to fill in this hourly high, which is where we targeted in the first place. But again, we did look to target um, these hourly highs as well as these 4 hour highs, which is up here. Just because again we were getting that reaction and we were displacing away from a hourly gap. So in all signs we were bullish on the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 50-minute. All time frames were bullish. Right, all time frames were bullish. And this was my structure at the time. So we broke structure here. We get a pullback, which is down here. And we get a structure break here. Ideally, it could be here as well, but we get a structure break here. We get a pullback. We get a structure break here. We form a new range. So this is a high. This was the low that was put in after breaking this range here. So this becomes our low. And this becomes our range, yeah. And yeah, and I'm looking to, and I'm telling myself like, hey, like, are we in a premium or are we in a discount? Like, where are we kind of looking to take a trade from? And we did bounce from discounted area, which in that range was this hourly fair value gap. So that's what I mentioned before, is that we were bouncing away from that hourly fair value gap. And pretty much a market opened, which is here. I was pretty much looking on the internal structure, right? I was kind of looking like, oh, okay, like ideally we want to come back into a condition, which we ended up doing. So as you can see on MGC, we didn't tap our condition, but on XAU USD, we did tap our condition. So that's something to keep in mind of. Just in case you get confused, like, oh, like, price didn't even come down here, but it did go down there, but it just didn't show on MGC, as it's kind of the delayed one, I guess, compared to XAU USD. So again, we get that tap into our condition, right? And I'm looking on the 1 minute time frame because at the time it was the highest time frame in terms of where we could look to actually take a trade from. So our 1 minute time frame, the only bearish gap we had was this one here. And again, we get a nice closure above it. We get a nice closure above it, targeting for a 1-to-1, which is these hourly highs here. So once we get that closure above, again, it's one of those times where price just wasn't ready to take out these highs, and we actually come back down, and we should get stopped out, and then price reverses and ends up taking that draw that we were looking to actually take. Yeah. Today was, yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't even say anything. But again, if I put my stops here, it wouldn't be worth it in terms of taking a trade. So that's why I was comfortable to actually put my stop loss below this body candle. But again, we followed our rules here. We get our tap into condition, which I did show you guys on XAU USD. We get a reaction. We get a nice strong reaction. We close above the last point of resistance, which in this case was the 1 minute bearish fair value gap. We get a closure. We wait for a pullback. We enter on this candle here. We go break even at this level, because once we tap into this level, ideally we get a quick fill order at this weak high here. But what price ended up doing was coming back down, chopping down a little bit more, taking us out, and then reversing. So yeah, we didn't have a chance to go break even, just because of a part of our plan is that for us to go break even, we need to see a high get taken out, right? Because ideally, if we are chasing highs, for us to get a move all the way back down again from around this level, ideally we want to actually get a sweep of these highs and then show displacement to the downside, telling us that, hey, we're not ready to go higher yet. But yeah, it was unfortunate that we got caught on the wrong side of the trade today. Well, not the wrong side, but wrong timing, I would say. As you guys can see, the idea played out, but I got pretty much stuck on the wrong timing on things. So again, nothing much I can do there. We do get the funded tomorrow, so we'll see how we go there. Um, and yeah, we'll continue to stick to the rules every single day religiously. We stick to the rules because we know it works. We definitely know it works. Um, but again, this is one of those things where we don't revenge trade and we don't do anything like that to preserve our capital and preserve the account as much as we can, but also try and pass it as well, right? We had to break evens multiple months now. And yeah, I know it's a good thing because I know that we're not blowing more than one or two accounts a month. Um, well, last month we only blew it just because of the um, just because of the um, what's it called? The trailing stop loss. So we made 1,000, and then our stop loss went below that. So instead of 4,800, it became 4,900, and our stops actually got trailed towards that. So yeah, um, yeah, slowly working towards it. Slowly, it is a goal. I mean, we can pass it. The idea is to pass it. Hopefully, we can pass it, but the journey still continues. You know what I mean. So, yeah, today, unfortunate loss. Um, Idea played out. The draw played out. But again, one of those things where we were unable to. Um, we were unable to kind of take advantage of that. So, yeah. I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a beautiful night. God bless. God is good. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for actually waiting on me too and being understanding, I hope. I did have some subtle reasons for taking those days of trading off. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for understanding. Thank you guys so much for keeping me motivated. You know, keep me seeing the bigger picture when it comes to this trading stuff. And, praying that hopefully it all works out in the end. You know, God always has a plan for us. And yeah, it's got to keep praying and keep staying dedicated, work hard, keep chasing it, do the things that people won't do, No one's after a long day at work, no one's willing to stay up, to trade and things like that, but it's just the sacrifices that we have to make to, become successful. Well, I hope. Yeah. Well, not I hope. We will be successful, guys. We will be, right? That's the mindset. We will be, right? We just gotta keep working towards it. And yeah. Thank you guys so much. Again, God bless, and I hope you guys have an amazing night or day, wherever you guys are from, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.